Welcome to the Weekly Hijack special Once Upon a Time finale edition.
Hello, this is Nick.
Where's Jack?
He's not here. It was on Sunday. We're a little late this time.
Yeah, well, a little weird.
Mother's Day kind of threw us off.
Yeah.
There were a lot of events going on.
Well,
We didn't have a chance to watch.
Well, and the benefit is then that means I got to be a part of this whole shindig.
Yeah, exactly.
So what did we think about this, folks? We've got a handheld mic this time just to try something different, and I'll wander around the room.
All right.
So, general thoughts.
There's so many different angles to come at it.
Start. Okay, well, first let's go first with the whole alternate reality thing, which was a lot of fun. Actually, okay, before we even get into that, the writers thing, which
was kind of fun.
Yeah, I think all us writers could probably identify with the whole no, people don't understand what I'm trying to tell them sort of thing.
And I really did enjoy the alternate reality dimension of it, like the, no pun intended, but kind of the problem is it was fun on its own, but I'm not sure it completely made sense on the thematic they were building up with the heroes being villains and villains being heroes, because they just made the good guys bad guys and bad guys good guys. They didn't actually give villains happy endings. I mean, in the way that I was assuming they were going to do. I thought, Gold,
and the way they even talked about it.
I mean, because Gold they changed his personality to give him a happy ending, which is completely different than giving Rumpelstiltskin as he was a happy ending. And so I like the thing, but I don't know that it gelled quite with some of the themes they were building with. I mean, I enjoyed watching, Hook be goofy and Henry being cool and Regina being Regina. I mean, she didn't really change at all, except she's always awesome and is apparently the savior of that world, which works.
I guess the only explanation I could give to it is if the author in his novel, if he included some of the past stuff and about how Rumpelstiltskin had changed stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of the whole setup for the world. I agree. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
It's basically just, hey, we're going to flip everything on its head, which is fine, but that's not like giving bad guys good endings. That's just making new good guys and new bad guys, which is completely different than saying like the Wicked book, where it's like you thought she was a bad guy. She was still kind of the same thing, but you felt bad for her. She was misread and everything. It was just, he's not the dark one, he's the light one. He just kind of like, he threw it in a mirror, which is a neat concept, but not, I guess, what I thought they were setting up with the author and all this. We'll get our happy endings. I mean, though, surprisingly, now in theory, Rumpelstiltskin is now free of the Dark One and gets his happy ending outside of it all. But
I'm really curious how they'll handle that. Like all the darkness. At first, I was really like, wait, all that is Rumpelstiltskin's like lifetime of bad stuff. But then when they started explaining, it's like, well, the history of the Dark One, which be like, why did you take this long to tell other people where the Dark One powers came from? That it was this demon thing. That would be kind of helpful. Mr. Apprentice and Sorcerer Dude.
Who kind of been like hanging out as like just in some random house in Storybrooke while all this other stuff is going on. It's like, I'm just going to hang out here and not worry about Gold and Regina doing stuff. Well, I guess he didn't know for the first season because he would have forgot with everyone else.
I suppose if he's been there the whole time, which we're kind of taking for granted.
Unless he came back in the second curse. I don't know.
Possible.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
We've only seen the Sorcerer and the Apprentice in this particular season, right? Because they first appeared during the Frozen arc.
Yes, I believe. Zach, I'm sure you were shaking your head during some of things, as normal.
Yeah, I don't know. I was not overwhelmed. I did not find it. I won't give any spoilers, but earlier this week I watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale, which I was like, whoa, that's amazing. This one I was like, Now, I was complaining during it about Hook coming back alive. They did explain it, which, fine. I mean, I'm glad they did. But it still was... They're just really bad at keeping any sort of consistency in their thing. Because, so, the writing can't be the past. They can't change the past. And they said, well, we went to the last chapter, the last part. It really would have been better, I think, if they would have extended this. Make this 3 episodes, 4 episodes, and see how they got to. Because this made it look like you just wrote endings. You just flip people's places. Didn't even make story. He's the worst author ever. He didn't make a story up at all. He just copied. It's all plagiarism and put somebody else's name on there. Well, and never transitioned between, because if you can't rewrite the past, what got you from where they are when he wrote the book to where they ended up? How did they just all disappear? And how did all this stuff? It's just, they just like to ignore. And, and I was thinking of, Doctor Who and their timey-wimey and things like that. But they're not even this timey-wimey. And they have such compelling reasons behind their stories that you don't care that much. Here, you don't have that. And so I'm left going, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Give Natasha an initial thought.
Well, I mean, in response to that, I would say that he just rewrote their memories. It was all a memory thing. So I don't think anything, he didn't rewrite the past. Like, Emma just kept her memories of everything that had happened. He just dumped them back in this world, starting over with memories of a past that had been a certain way. Now, I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with Emma, because she was already pretty powerful. Plus, she has all the Dark One's powers now, too. I mean, that was kind of a bad decision on her part. I mean, it was very nice and sacrificial of her and everything, and I'm glad she did it for Regina's sake.
And
but
it would have been lame to have Regina be the Dark One again.
Yes,
Like,
yeah,
holy crap,
yeah.
You're not going to do that. That's awful.
I do agree with that. I was like, no, not more villainous Regina.
That's so horrible.
I mean, granted, she hasn't been the Dark One per se, but we've seen her be a villain quite a bit. So
Here's the thing: what would solve a lot of problems is someone just needs to pick up that dagger and keep controlling Emma for a while. I mean, right? The dagger controls the Dark One.
that's true. Yeah, that's
I mean,
really all you
so
need
just
to
pick
do.
up the dagger. Just have Hook pick it up and wait around until they find the sorcerer, and you're set. I mean, I don't think it would happen. Now, here's my question. Okay, so the whole book was made up, like it was not reality. But when he wrote things like, "Hey, we're gonna go get that Maleficent's egg and stuff," that was reality. So what is different? Just because he wrote a whole new book, that he just,
My guess is there's some limits to how much the author powers, even if you start rewriting stuff, what you can do. Like, I think he couldn't.
within possibilities originally.
Yeah, he had to like manually meet the Charmings to convince them to go steal Maleficent's egg. So I think to completely do as much, yeah.
He wrote the sorcerer to do that.
You guys are trying to make sense of it. Yes.
Well, I mean, like it's one of those things that when you play with the whole idea of, and writers like this sort of thing, when you play with the whole idea of fiction being like this whole other like quasi reality thing, and what's real, what's not. Like I don't know. I think it's interesting to play with the different levels of it, and I like the idea that the writer was like could manipulate things subtly, but then try to go too far, and it creates like a pocket universe. That kind of makes a weird amount of sense.
I have to say, again, I'm glad. I think it might be interesting with Emma being the Dark One, just because, Emma is always trying to find a plot line. And like this one, Regina's the hero. I mean, Regina's been the main character all season, which I'm fine with. She's about my favorite character at this point. But, but I think it'll be neat to get, have that sort of dynamic, so we've basically done the switch where now she's the bad person and Regina's the good person. So it could be interesting. We'll see how it gets played out. Like, I think I agree with Zach. Like, this whole alternate reality, you could have played for 4 or 5 episodes and had him come slowly realize and play things out and have really played with the villain. Maybe not 5 episodes, but a couple episodes maybe.
I think the trick though about keeping an alternate reality too long is at some point people get anxious and like, if this is not real, let's not keep this up too much, because like how much more character development is there going to be of having Snow and Regina just flip roles exactly?
Well, I think if it would have, if you would have attached it more to this idea of villains and heroes, where do the happy endings come from, and the whole fate versus not, because he basically made them do stuff in this fake reality that they didn't do to get their happy ending. Then we've been arguing all season about, okay, can you get a happy ending? Is it your choice, or all this stuff, and it really was not even remotely touched on.
Yeah. Well,
all the kind of semi-big questions they brought up, they didn't really deal with the finale.
Well, on that point, I would really like to see. I hope what they're doing with Rumpelstiltskin here is basically sort of setting him up to finally go on a redemption journey. Because basically, Rumpelstiltskin still has a lot to answer for, even being the Dark One and a lot sort of thing.
Choices. I mean,
he still made choices that he has to deal with.
He had the ring; it made him corrupt, but Christian theology. You have a sin nature, but you're still responsible for choosing.
I think probably Gollum would be a closer because he had it for much longer. Yeah. But I really hope that this time he can go on a genuine redemption arc, assuming obviously he's going to recover eventually, but he's going to need to go finally confront his cowardness and really deal with it as opposed to temporarily deal with it.
Yeah, that makes me think, okay, what I would have really liked from this is if Hook or Regina or Gold had actually died. Because I'm just sick of all this. There was a thing in I won't spoil it, but there was this thing in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finale where I was like, holy crap, this main character might die. It just might happen. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. But in this, I'm like, are they gonna really? No, they didn't do it. I mean, and it's to the point with some of these characters now that you could kill them and their story is done. I'm not sure, and I know there's been Derailed Trains conversations about killing people for the sake of killing people or not killing people, but I don't know. We just keep restarting these people's stories over and over again. I think you could kill one and it would be okay.
All right. As the woman in the group, I have to say I'm very happy they didn't kill Captain Hook.
No, I would have been most disappointed if they killed him. I really wanted him to stay.
And Regina's actually changed substantially. I mean, she's made progression. Rumpelstiltskin's the one who can't yet seem to make a start of it.
Give Natasha some more time.
Boys
keep taking it over.
I agree with
I had an idea there, but I don't know if I can remember it now. Thank you. Nope, you guys.
So apparently next season, not only do we have the Dark One thing, but we also have Baby Zelena and Maleficent Dragon Dad.
I really hope Zelena just stays down in herself for at least the next half season, because man, I can't handle too much of Zelena.
See, now Zelena was such a great actress. We really liked her that I would have been okay had the Dark One gone into her. I think that would have been she would have been a good Dark One and whatnot. If they want to keep her on the show, I thought that would have been a good way to go. Otherwise, get rid of her. I'm done. This Zelena baby thing is going to be yucky. And I don't know. We'll see. But one of these three stories, the egg thing or the Emma as the Dark One or Zelena's baby thing, they'll wrap it up in one episode and it'll be over. And I'll just be like, what? You could have done something with this. I'm a pessimist on this whole thing.
See if Zach is correct.
I really do think, though. Think about it. 9 months. Her baby is probably going to come. It's going to be the next half part. The next spring basically is going to be that arc. I would imagine.
I think it'll be the first episode.
We'll see.
Selena's baby is Maleficent's husband. No.
Well, before we get too far in the future, I do want to say I really enjoyed, at least in the first part of this, Henry's whole journey about finding people. That was a lot of fun because Henry doesn't get the spotlight enough.
I agree. I think Henry needs more spotlight, and we kind of called halfway through that, or early on that, he's going to be the author, and I'm almost sad that he just broke the pen. I mean, it's nice. It makes sense. And I do have to say, I liked most of the alternate reality stuff. I'm a sucker for alternate reality stuff. It's a shame that so much was hanging on top of it, I think. And then, you have the last 20 minutes were and then we're going to cause all kinds of chaos to happen to wrap up all our stuff. And some of it worked, and some, it'll be interesting to see how some of this, it's hard to judge at this point, some of that, because you don't know how it's going to pan out. Oh, sure. But I'm happy Regina has basically got, in theory, everyone did get their happy ending except Emma. I mean, it's funny. I was half joking because we made fun a couple episodes ago about how Rumple always has these ridiculous plans that he doesn't really know about. I'm like, well, see, Rumple planned to get his heart cleaned and Emma to turn bad all along this way because he knew that if he used the author, that Henry wouldn't. But not true. But it is kind of fun. And I think probably on purpose that, Emma did end up then becoming dark and Rumple in theory did get cleansed, even though it was completely not the way anyone had planned it. And just the dwarves as evil is kind of fun.
But I do. That's the main thing I'm looking forward to because I didn't enjoy Rumpelstiltskin nearly as much this season as I used to. So I'm really hope if they do a really cool redemption thing with him finally getting courage, that's my big hope for next season.
He was not played particularly strongly this season, or at least I didn't feel compelled.
Another redemption story. We're gonna do a second, third redemption story, whatever.
Well, I mean,
I'm done with Gold's redemption.
Well, I mean, but think about it. This time, he doesn't have any. He's not the Dark One anymore. He doesn't have any magic. Probably, it's gonna be back to Rumpelstiltskin, the crippled old guy that has to fend for himself without magic. That's pretty cool.
Hopefully, it's more of a B story in some ways, and well, maybe not. I could see either way. But are we going to go to a different realm, though, finally? No, because we might. I mean, it said the sorcerer's far, far away. Maybe we'll actually have
the search for Merlin.
The search for Merlin.
That could be. Have they talked about they've mentioned...
We've had Lancelot on the show.
Yeah. I was like, we've had some other King Arthur stuff. No Merlin, though, but...
Yeah, no Merlin.
A little disappointed it's not Yen Sid. That's actually the sorcerer's name, but no one would... That's a very obscure Disney reference. Because Yen Sid is actually Disney backwards.
Oh, okay.
But that...
I doubt Disney made up the sorcerer's name. Oh, you're saying the sorcerer. Okay, never mind.
The sorcerer from Fantasia.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Anyway, do we miss anything, Natasha?
Oh, no. I was just going to, say some more about the romance, but I won't bore you guys with that. So no, I'm really glad that they didn't kill Hook because Emma had already lost one of her guys. I mean, it would have been ridiculous for her to lose two guys and then become the Dark One. I mean, just yeah.
Be really bad.
But also I was really annoyed that Emma couldn't say I love you to
That was lame.
him. And they left it for the end. I think it would have been just as powerful for her to say it then, and then at the end, we all that had already been between them, and it would have been just as impactful to lose each other then. So
You could tell Hook knew what she had meant to say too. It was like he was waiting for it.
So here's a curious thing. I don't know that we've ever. One must work in the real world. It's just interesting that apparently by writing in the books, you can actually rewrite Earth history as well, non-magical history, because he was author and famous and everything. So I didn't know if the book dealt with that, but apparently can. Must be all realms.
Hey.
So
Or maybe they don't know what they're doing.
it was interesting seeing how he was chosen to be author and all that. But then in the context of the whole thing, I'm not sure it added that. I mean, it was pretty cool, that whole intro scene, and I guess it gave him some background for why he did what he did. But
I would like to know. He said he had some very bad bosses. And I assume we saw one of those, but I would assume there'd be something else that maybe the sorcerer and the apprentice did to take him off.
Too, because he's still around.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that, but we might still get more author story.
Backstory, yeah, it's possible, especially if Merlin, the search for Merlin is a big thing. We might find more about the sorcerer. And do you think the apprentice is dead? Speaking of dead people, I think the apprentice might have actually just died here. So there's one dead character for you. Not that you had a great attachment to him, but
I actually did like him, but they don't kill off anybody who could get killed.
I don't know if there's a place to kill off anyone in this one. I mean, Rumple, the problem is the way they set up Rumple, you couldn't kill him then. I mean, if you've done things differently, maybe. But the other two, it would have been not helpful.
Yeah.
The way they set things up.
yeah, it's like I just couldn't see Rumpelstiltskin dying like this because
Regina?
because the thing is, she finally got her happy ending, and to kill her is reversing. I mean, it just is.
Got her happy ending.
Yeah, but dying after you find your guy is not a happy ending. What they should have done is end it. I don't quite mean that, but I mean, the thing is, a number of the people at the place were like, "Oh, you could have wrapped things up if you wanted to."
You did it that. Okay, yeah, you could end the whole show. That I agree would have been preferable to killing one of them, but I'll take killing one of them as a second choice.
On Lost, you get your happy ending by having you work through your things or whatever. But in a fairy tale world, your happy ending doesn't come by dying. In Lost, they set it up so that, hey, I worked through all my issues, and therefore I'm free to die.
At some point, they have to come to and they lived happily ever after for this to be fairy tale consistent.
Really mean to give. Well, last season, Regina gets Marion's still alive. And then this season, finally I worked through everything and they kill me. I mean, it just would have been.
Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind, honestly, season 5 could be the last season. I mean.
Oh, let's hope so.
But I mean, think about it. Like the savior becomes the dark one. That's a pretty good setup for like a climactic season. Like if they do it right.
Especially since it seems like you got kind of this primordial battle between Merlin and the darkness. It's like this early battle before all these guys' stories started. You do it again, and then you're good. I really do feel like it would be. I mean, again, I don't know how they're going to play it, but it certainly could be an epic sort of last light versus dark battle.
And 5 seasons is a good number for a show.
For most shows, 5 seasons is a really good number.
So,
Any other comments?
we
We did actually tackle a bunch of the plot, just kind of like our thoughts on the season.
well, I mean, there was a lot going on, and
I mean, a lot of the plot stuff was enjoyable. I mean, especially the alternate stuff, but
I'm sure all the actors had fun playing the alternate versions of themselves and all that good stuff. But all right, well, I knew this would be a long one, but I think we should probably wrap it up. So, once upon a time, thank you for listening through this last half season with us. I'm sure you can look forward to it. I'd like to maybe next week do like after like all the TV finales have wrapped up and you guys are caught up, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. It'd be fun to do like a kind of a quick recap of a bunch of different series that we follow.
What else was good? The Person of Interest season finale was good.
Yeah. That one I think may be getting close to an end too. Yeah, but that might be something we'll do. We'll see. But well, meanwhile, make sure you check out latest Derailed Trains of Thought episode just came out about a week ago. So make sure you listen to that. And in the meantime, what was that?
Skip the music.
Oh, Zach. You can find those episodes on this channel or at derailedtrainsofthought.blogspot.com or on iTunes. All those places.
Yes, that's it.
That's it. Until next time, this is Tim.
This is Nick.
Bye.
Bye, folks.
Adios.